first main event, a one fall with a 20-minute time limit, an Australian tag team match. Introducing from Denton, Texas, weighing 238 pounds, David Von Erich. From Omaha, Nebraska, weighing 250 pounds, Ted Dibiase. From Germany, weighing 283 pounds, Von Raschke. And from Waxahachie, Texas, weighing 260 pounds, Dick Murdoch. Referee Lee Warren, Chuck Raleigh.
Dick Murdoch and Von Raschke, a rough and tumble combination if you've ever seen one, against Ted Dibiase and David Von Erich, two of the finest young wrestlers you also will ever see. Believe me, when you talk about top contenders for who might be the world heavyweight champion after Ken Patera and title holder Harley Race square off, you can pick any one of the four men in the ring in this match, and either Race or Patera, who's ever the world champion, would have his hands full. Murdoch goes behind Dibiase. Atomic knee drop. Dibiase blocked it. Dibiase blocked it. He lifts Murdoch, and atomic knee drop by Dibiase to Dick Murdoch. Ted Dibiase back in St. Louis for the first time in over a year, and he bounces Dick Murdoch with that atomic knee drop. Murdoch had to tag in Von Raschke, and Raschke hasn't been on St. Louis television for about 3 or 4 years. Beautiful fireman's carry by Von Raschke. Don't kid yourself about Von Raschke. He is a brilliant wrestler. He has a terrible temper. He always did when he was one of the finest amateur grapplers in the country. He excelled in Greco-Roman wrestling, but that temper always was in the way. He could lose his temper easily. He hasn't changed at all in the professional ranks, but he has so much skill, so much power. Well, he's almost unstoppable. And right now it's Von Raschke in the ring against Ted Dibiase. Raschke, who claims to be the true master of the Iron Claw. And you know that Raschke jumped at this opportunity because he has a showdown coming up with David Von Erich, and the day he's across from David in a tag team affair. Here comes David Von Erich. He grabs Raschke and bangs away on Raschke's head. Side headlock by David Von Erich on Von Raschke, who has an open challenge to any of the Von Erich family for a Battle of the Claws. Well, he has that coming up now against David Von Erich. The Battle of the Claws, Von Raschke and David Von Erich. And of course, also coming up on that same card, the battle between the Missouri State Champion Ken Patera and the World Heavyweight title holder Harley Race, with Lou Thez, the all-time great, the native of St. Louis, as the special referee. Raschke pitches Von Erich to the ropes. Von Erich over the top, and with a drop kick, floors Von Raschke. Side headlock, over the hip, down goes Raschke. David Von Erich in command and keeping a close eye on Dick Murdoch. Raschke trying to put the shoulders of David Von Erich down, but couldn't keep him there. He tries once more. Lee Warren, here's the crowd yelling, and catches Von Raschke, pulling tights, and then shoves David Von Erich back over on top. Side headlock by David Von Erich on Von Raschke. And Lee Warren balls out Dick Murdoch, chases him back to the corner because Murdoch was reaching in. Raschke trying to struggle to his feet. Von Erich with that side headlock on Von Raschke. Raschke's been dominating main events throughout the Southlands in the last year or so. Raschke pitches Von Erich to the ropes. Hip toss by Von Raschke. He goes for the claw and misses. Von Erich rolled away. There's that side headlock again. Raschke making an early attempt to catch David Von Erich with the claw. Here comes Murdoch. He's got the tag rope, and Dibiase gets there first. Dibiase grabs the tag rope away from Murdoch and puts it around Murdoch's throat. Dibiase strangling Murdoch with the tag rope that Murdoch brought into the ring. Well, that certainly backfired on Dick Murdoch. He pulled that tag rope loose and came running after David Von Erich, but Ted Dibiase came to the rescue of David Von Erich and ended up strangling Murdoch, which was what Murdoch had in mind for David Von Erich. David Von Erich over the top of Raschke, hits the rope. Oh, and Raschke nails Von Erich with a knee lift to the stomach. Tag is made on both sides of the ring, and it's Murdoch who has to square off with Dibiase. Murdoch complains to Raschke about the tag not being quick enough, but it certainly wasn't Raschke's fault. Had Murdoch been in the corner, he could have made that tag. So Murdoch is certainly wrong in blaming Von Raschke, but then again, you know Murdoch's history with tag team partners. He's had his problems staying aligned with anyone for any length of time. And that goes from Mickey Garagiola to King Kong Brody, who's in Japan and not at all happy about some of the things he's been hearing Dick Murdoch say. Murdoch slugs Dibiase to the canvas. Raschke stomps on the mat and yells at Murdoch. Raschke, those eyes bugged out as he yells at Murdoch to follow up the advantage, and Murdoch drops Dibiase.
5 minutes have passed, 15 minutes left.
Ted Dibiase in trouble here. Once more, Dibiase blocks that atomic knee drop on Murdoch. Murdoch blocks the atomic knee drop of Dibiase. Well, they're blocking either way. That one scores. That atomic knee drop hit the mark. And so did that forearm smash. Murdoch leveled by Dibiase. Side headlock. Down goes Dick Murdoch. Frantic action today on Wrestling at the Chase, and what more could you expect with a tag team combination like this? Ted Dibiase with a side headlock on Dick Murdoch. Murdoch looking out from inside that headlock for Raschke. Murdoch with an uppercut that spun Dibiase right around. Claw yells. Oh, he yelled a claw at Raschke. And Raschke gets the claw on Murdoch. Raschke has the claw on Murdoch. He missed Dibiase. Murdoch couldn't hold on to the aggressive Ted Dibiase, and Raschke ended up with the claw on Murdoch, and now Murdoch and Raschke have a little disagreement. Dick Murdoch, he'll try anything, he'll do anything, and sometimes it backfires on him. It certainly did there. Raschke forces Dibiase to the ropes, and Dibiase fights back. Dibiase and Raschke were toe-to-toe. Murdoch got in it. Here comes David Von Erich after Murdoch. Murdoch powers in the corner. Now he fights back against David Von Erich. All four men in the ring. Finally, Murdoch gouges the eyes of David Von Erich. Meanwhile, Raschke has a headlock on Ted Dibiase. Believe me, the action is being generated not just by the two people in the ring, but the two outside the ring have been involved just as much. Dick Murdoch, not too happy with the commentary out here, but Murdoch says he's had enough of this. He's going back outside. I don't know if he means outside the ring or outside the building. You never know with Murdoch. He is controversy personified. Here comes Murdoch. He comes up behind Dibiase, who did not see the tag made. Try this one, yells Murdoch at Dibiase as he bangs the elbow off the jawbone of Ted Dibiase. Dibiase sags to the ropes, but comes off with a forearm smash. Side headlock briefly by Murdoch, and then he pounds a fist into the head of Dibiase. Two former Missouri State champions in there right now, Murdoch and Dibiase. Here we go, yells Murdoch. He hooks ahead. He's going for the brainbuster. The suplex or the brainbuster, either name you want. And Murdoch drops Dibiase with the brainbuster. This could be it. Count of two. Oh, and Dibiase. Dibiase pushes off Murdoch, and Murdoch is incensed. He tags Raschke. Raschke trying to follow up the attack. He hoists Dibiase for a backbreaker. The backbreaker by Raschke. At two, Dibiase just won't stay down. Front rolling cradle, a small package by Dibiase. Raschke quickly breaks free. He's a strong, powerful man. Raschke whips Dibiase to the ropes. Oh, Raschke is trying to flip Dibiase. Dibiase nailed him with a kick. Here comes David Von Erich. David Von Erich pounds on Raschke. Drop kick knocks Raschke to the corner. Dibiase right back on top of him. Across the ring goes Raschke. Up and over the top goes Von Raschke. David Von Erich poisons the claw, and Raschke blocks the claw. Raschke blocks the claw. Here comes Murdoch. Von Erich went for the claw on Von Raschke. Whose claw is better? The one of Von Raschke or the one of the Von Erich family? Murdoch's knee lifted to the air and it bangs into the head of David Von Erich. Raschke chased out of the ring by the referees. Murdoch back on the assault against David Von Erich. Hot and heavy action. What more could you want from any wrestling match, from any wrestling card? David Von Erich tosses Murdoch to the ropes. Flying tackle flattens David Von Erich.
10 minutes have expired, 10 minutes left.
David Von Erich with the claw on Murdoch. Raschke charging into the ring, and he's after David Von Erich. David still hanging on with the claw. Now Raschke with the claw. Raschke with the claw on Von Erich. The Von Erich's own weapon being used against them. Von Raschke with the claw on David Von Erich. Raschke digging in. David Von Erich sagging, starting to lose consciousness as Raschke uses the Von Erich's own weapon against them. David back on his feet, trying to keep his consciousness, trying to keep his head up. He has the claw on Raschke. Both men with claws. Raschke with the claw on Von Erich. Von Erich with the claw on Raschke. They end up in the ropes. If they can get either man to release the claw, finally, both claws broken. The claw against the claw. Boy, you saw it graphically right there. Raschke and David Von Erich. Knee lift by Dibiase flattens Raschke. Body slam by Dibiase. Here comes Murdoch. He breaks up a potential pin. And Dibiase is angrily after Murdoch. Dibiase and Murdoch. Dibiase knocking Murdoch down to the apron. Raschke and David Von Erich battling in the middle of the ring. Murdoch pulls Dibiase outside. Murdoch slamming him into the table. Down goes Ted Dibiase. Murdoch slanging him into the announcer's table. Meanwhile, Raschke and David Von Erich have had their own Donnybrook. Oh, Murdoch slammed into that table. Again, Murdoch driven into the table by Dibiase. Dibiase and Murdoch having a Donnybrook outside the ring. Raschke trying to get out there to see what's going on. David Von Erich and Raschke inside the ring toe-to-toe. The referees try to separate them. Murdoch with a microphone tangled up around him. Ollie Hofstetter trying to untangle Dick Murdoch from the cabling outside. As we try to reestablish our building here. Dibiase, atomic knee drop to Von Raschke. Tag made to David Von Erich. Raschke catches a punch from both David Von Erich and Ted Dibiase. Raschke puts his foot on the ropes to avoid being pinned. What more could happen in this match? They've wrecked ringside, I'll guarantee you that. The dropkick floors Raschke. David Von Erich, though, keeping a wary eye on Murdoch. He knows you can never count him out. Murdoch yells Raschke. David Von Erich flung head first into the top turnbuckle. Murdoch lifts David Von Erich and pounds on Von Erich's head. Lee Warren and Chuck Riley, the referees, trying to maintain some sort of order in this knockdown, drag-out, back alley brawl. Murdoch tosses David Von Erich to the ropes and nails him with an elbow right to the chin. Murdoch flying elbow drop. And then Murdoch spits at Dibiase. Here comes Dibiase. Ted Dibiase not in the mood to take anything from Murdoch or Raschke. David Von Erich carried over to the corner. Raschke pounding on David Von Erich as Murdoch holds Von Erich's arms. Murdoch yells something at Dibiase. Raschke pounding on David Von Erich. Murdoch and Dibiase about ready to square off again. Raschke misses the claw. Raschke missed the claw. Tag made to Dibiase. Dibiase pounds away on Von Raschke. Spins him with a punch. Down goes Raschke. Flying elbow drop. Try for a pin. At 2, Raschke shoves off Dibiase. Dibiase and Murdoch once more take a long look at one another. Fists are clenched. Lee Warren trying to break those fists up, but I think by this point it's almost impossible to stop Murdoch and Dibiase from going at one another hammer and tongs, just as it is to stop Raschke and David Von Erich.
15 minutes have passed, 5 minutes left, 5 minutes.
Murdoch charges into the ropes and knocks Riley right off the apron. Down goes Murdoch. The referee, Chuck Riley's been hurt. He's been knocked off the apron. Dibiase goes for the figure 4. The figure 4 leg lock by Ted Dibiase on Dick Murdoch. Here comes Raschke, and there's David Von Erich with a claw on Raschke. Raschke trying to get a Dibiase to break up the figure 4. David with the claw on Raschke. David dragging Raschke outside the ring with the claw. Look at that, Raschke being pulled outside the ring by the iron claw of David Von Erich. Finally, the referee gets David Von Erich and Raschke separated, while Murdoch simply refuses to quit against Dibiase. Raschke just won't quit. He's after Dibiase, stomping on him, and the figure 4 is finally broken. David Von Erich tried to get at Raschke, but Chuck Riley, who took a hard blow, stopped him. You have to admire these referees. Even they're taking their lumps in this tag match. Here comes David Von Erich. Both men, Von Erich and Dibiase, slip Raschke for a double atomic knee drop. Can you believe some of the excitement that you have seen in this match? Simply unreal action. Try for a pin, Raschke lifts that arm and manages to push off the hip of David Von Erich. Knee lift by David Von Erich on Raschke. Murdoch crawling up behind Von Erich, but David spotted him. And Raschke charges into Von Erich, who had his eye on Murdoch. Hip toss by Raschke on David Von Erich.
3 minutes left, 3 minutes.
3 minutes remaining, and for 17 minutes, the duos, one side, Von Raschke and Dick Murdoch, the other, David Von Erich and Ted Dibiase, have simply been spectacular, sensational. The short arm scissors by Raschke on David Von Erich. David Von Erich rolled Raschke into a cradle. Murdoch kicked Von Erich, and that allows Raschke to keep the short arm scissors, or the figure 4 arm lock, if you prefer that name for it. David Von Erich manages to lift the shoulder. Give up, yells Raschke to David Von Erich. Certainly nothing has been decided yet as to who has the better claw, although you have to be impressed by the way David Von Erich used the claw to literally drag Raschke out of the ring when Raschke tried to get in there to break up Dibiase's figure 4 leg lock on Murdoch. But even at that, Raschke showed you he could withstand punishment, that he could take the claw, because after that he still got back into the ring, that man, Von Raschke, and attacked Ted Dibiase. Von Raschke with a figure 4 arm lock on David Von Erich. There's the claw. There's the claw by Von Erich on Raschke. The claw by Von Erich on Raschke. Raschke squirming towards the rope. Murdoch's up on the top rope. Murdoch's on the top rope, and there's Dibiase after Murdoch. Dibiase knocks Murdoch off the top rope. Raschke still caught in David Von Erich's claw. There goes Murdoch up on the ropes again. He leaps off the rope. He's caught in the stomach claw. Von Erich has a claw on either man. He had the iron claw on Raschke and the stomach claw on Murdoch, before Murdoch broke it up by gouging the eye of Von Erich. Von Erich needs a tag. Here comes Murdoch. Here comes Dibiase.
1 minute left, 1 minute.
Dibiase, his legs caught by Murdoch. Murdoch spins Dibiase, but Dibiase comes off punching. Murdoch slammed headfirst into the buckle. He can take it too. Those are 4 tough athletes inside that ring. Murdoch takes a bite out of the forehead of Dibiase. I'll tell you, I don't see how any of this quartet can have anything left by this point. They have just been non-stop from the opening bell. Murdoch stomps on the jaw of Ted Dibiase. Murdoch lifts Dibiase for a pile driver. There's the pile driver from Murdoch to Dibiase. Can he pull out a victory with just a few seconds remaining? Murdoch, a bit the worse for wear himself, crawls across Dibiase. There's the bell. And that ends this match as a 20-minute time limit draw. If we can get everybody separated. Raschke and Murdoch back to one corner. They're claiming a victory, but it's not to be. This match is a stalemate, a draw. David Von Erich and Ted Dibiase against Von Raschke and Dick Murdoch. What more could you want? There is no more that you could want. Here's Mickey.
With time running out, the referee declares the match a draw.